So, Assalamualaikum. Today we are from Group 7 want to present about the group project we will learn in plant operation. So, the team members Muhammad Syafiq Ikhwan, Makuel Adam, Muhammad Azban and Muhammad Zikri. So, the first introduction to chiller. So, what is a chiller? A chiller is a refrigeration system that removes heat from a liquid via vapor compression or absorption cycle. The cooler liquid is then circulated through heat exchanger to cool air or equipment. So main application have three. First, air conditioning in large building, in industrial process cooling, machinery, manufacturing, medical and laboratory cooling. So how it work? Refrigerant absorb heat from the water glycol chiller water loop. Hot refrigerant gas is compressed and cooled in a condenser. Refrigerant condenser back into liquid and repeat the cycle. So have a main component of a chiller. So the first is a control panel, electric cabinet, pressure gauge, compressor, condenser, and evaporator. So have a six type of chiller. So the first is a water cooler screw chiller, air cooler screw chiller, low temperature chiller, air cooler scroll chiller, water cooler screw chiller, and glycol chiller. So for the maintenance and safety chiller, so the first for the daily, weekly and checks. First check refrigerant pressure and temperature. Inspect for leak, ensure noise or vibration. Monitor chiller water and condenser water flow. For monthly and quarterly tasks for maintenance is a first clean condenser and evaporator tubes. Check oil level in compressor and calibrate sensor and control. For annual maintenance, replace filter, oil and refrigerant if needed. Inspect motor, fans and pump. Performance testing and efficiency audit. For the safety, follow the lockout tie-out procedure. Wear PPE when handling refrigerants. Ensure proper ventilation in chiller rooms. For the introduction to air compressor. So what is an air compressor? Air compressor is a mechanical device that increases air pressure by reducing volume. Used in various industrial applications, HVAC manufacturing tools. So how is air compressor is work? Air enters through an intake valve, compressed inside the air line, screw, piston or centrifugal. Pressurized air is stored in a tank for use.
Main component of air compressor. First is gear, compressor, motor, power switch, handle, valve, pressure switch, air tank, swivel wheel, tank drain, air outlet, pressure gauge, and pressure regulator. Next is type of compressor. Rotary screw, reciprocating, centrifugal, axial compressor, and scroll air compressor. Maintenance air compressor. For daily check, firstly is check oil level, air filter, and drain moisture from tank. For monthly tasks, inspect bag, hose, and tightness of board. Clean cooler, fin, and check for leaks. For 3 months, change oil and oil filter. Inspect separator element. For annual or overhaul, replace air, oil filter, inspect valve and check motor bearing. Calibrate pressure and temperature sensor. Next is heat exchanger. What is a heat exchanger? Heat exchanger is a device designed to transfer heat from one medium to another without mixing them. Used in HVAC, refrigerator, power plant, chemical processing, and engine. How it works? Two fluid flow, one hot, one cool. Heat transfer from the hot fluid to the cool fluid through a separating wall. Fluid remain separate, only heat is exchanged. Main component of a heat exchanger: type plate, movable frame, flow plate, gasket, carrying bar, start plate, tie rod, fixed frame, cool water out, hot water in, cool water in. Main component of a heat exchanger: type shell and tube. Tube side, shell, shell side, tube bundle, shell side, tube side.
There is 6 types of heat exchanger. So the first one is shell and tube. Shell and tube can handle high pressure. The second one is plate, compact and efficient, and used in food, pharma and HVAC. The third one is double pipe, common use in small scale operation. And the next one is air cooled, use air instead of water. The key advantage of this heat exchanger is to dry regions. The next one is spiral. Spiral can use in self-cleaning. The common use is viscous fluids and slurries. The last one is condenser and evaporators. The condensers and evaporators used in phase change application. So we move to the next slide. Maintenance and safety heat exchanger. The regular maintenance of heat exchanger is inspect for leaks, corrosion of fouling. The second one is clean tubes, plates to maintain efficiency, and the last one is check gasket and seal for wear. The safety precaution of the heat exchanger is isolate and depressurize before servicing. The second one is wear appropriate PPE such as gloves and goggles. The last one is follow lockup tagout procedure. We move to the cooling tower. So what is a cooling tower? Cooling tower is a device used to remove excess heat from industrial process, power plants and HVAC system by cooling water through evaporation and heat exchange. So how it works? The first one, hot water from industrial process enters the cooling tower, and then water is sprayed over fill material to increase surface area, and the last one, air flows through natural or forced draft, causing evaporation and cooling. So this is the main component of a cooling tower. We have motor, fan blade, nozzle, fill, fluid valve, suction pipe, drain, overflow, inlet pipe, drift eliminator. So this slide shows type of cooling tower based on airflow and draft method. There are 2 draft types, natural draft and mechanical draft. Natural draft use hot air rising naturally, while mechanical draft use fans. For cross flow, air flows across the water as it falls down. For counterflow, air flows upward opposite to the water flow. Mechanical draft towers are more common because they give better control and efficiency. The plumb-abated control tower reduces visible water vapor using a heat exchanger. So the symbol show fans, fill, heat exchanger, water and air direction.
For the maintenance of cooling tower, there are 3 types of checking. The first one is daily checks. The water level need to be checked in the basin, and then also the fan operation and motor temperature need to be inspected and look for leaks or unusual noise. Meanwhile, for the monthly task, uh, clean fill media and drift eliminators, inspect and clean water distribution nozzles, and also check pump and motor alignment. For annual maintenance, we need to drain and clean water basin, inspect the structural integrity, especially FRP, and also lubricate fan motor and check valves. Okay, what is a boiler? A boiler is a closed vessel where water is heated to produce steam or hot water for heating, processing, or power generation. It uses fuel such as gas, oil, coal, biomass, or electricity to generate heat. The main application of boiler are at power generation, at steam turbine, such as steam turbine, at industrial processes, in chemical, food, textile field, and also heating system in commercial and residential. How it works: the fuel is burned in the combustion chamber, and then heat is transferred to water inside the boiler vessel, and then the water turned into steam or hot water. Here we can see main components of a boiler for fire tube category. So in the diagram, this is the conventional fire tube boiler. First of all, on the left side bottom, we can see the blow down, and then it will heat, and then we can see the burner, and it will heat up the fire tube along the boiler, and then eventually the water will be heated, and until reach a certain temperature, it will become hot water and steam. As the steam exists, it will escape through the steam exits in the middle top of the boiler parts, and the hot gas will exit through the hot gas exit on the right hand side of the boiler. The next one is main components of a boiler for water tube. As we can see, at the bottom side is the combustion chamber where air and fuel inlet is available. The heat is created by heating the sloped water tube. As in the diagram, we can see there is 3 sloped water tube. It will heated by the fire, by combustion in the combustion chamber, and then eventually the liquid will reach a certain temperature and heat up, and it will create hot water or steam, and the steam will escape through the outlet at the middle part of the top side of the boiler. The next one is types of steam boilers. For the fire tube boiler, the tube is placed horizontally across the boiler, and then for the water tube boiler, the tube is placed vertically across the boiler from top to down. So basically the position of the tube is different for both types, but eventually the hot gas heat fire that will be released at the top right hand side of the boiler, and then the steam also will escape through the top side of the boiler at the end for both type of boiler. And then last but not least, the maintenance and safety for boiler. So boiler also have 3 types of maintenance, which is daily check, monthly check, and annual maintenance. For daily check, we need to check the water level, pressure, and temperature. Then we also need to inspect for leaks, corrosion, or unusual noise, and also monitor flame and combustion quality. Meanwhile, for the monthly tasks, we need to clean the heat exchanger surface, inspect burners, nozzle, and igniter, and also check pumps, valve, and piping. For the annual maintenance, we need to do some internal inspection and cleaning, which is descaling. And then for the The second one is hydrostatic pressure test at the boiler body, and then the last one is to we need to replace the gasket, seals, and one parts of the boiler. For the safety tips for boiler, we always need to follow LOTO, which is lockout and tagout. And then we also need to ensure proper ventilation in the boiler room to avoid the heat from accumulate. And then we need to use PPE such as gloves, goggles, and heat resistant clothing. Thank you.